Electric football. And you know what, Stuart? This is my favorite one.
Why is that, Steven?
It's the Christmas one where we exchange gifts. So I bought you a Chopard watch. I hope you enjoy it.
Oh, thank you. And I got you nothing, but I'm keeping that.
Tradition is kept.
Yay!
Stuart, what do you want for Christmas?
Well, here, I'm putting this up on Thursday evening for Santa. Here's what the Dolphins would like. A new owner, new scouts, new coaches, and the old logo.
And perhaps some thicker paper so it looks a little better.
It was a last-minute plan.
Chargers at Raiders. And the Chargers are coming off a big emotional win, which might be their last game in San Diego. I'd be depressed if I had to move to Los Angeles from San Diego. I'm taking the Raiders while the Chargers are busy looking around for apartments.
This game's going up against It's a Wonderful Life on Thursday night, so I'm going to take Jimmy Stewart for the block, and then I'll take the Raiders in the game.
Skins at Eagles. Eagles and Skins going for the division, really. I mean, they're still alive in the worst division in football. And I like the Eagles just to throw a little more confusion into this. So I'm taking the Eagles at home. I think they're going to be able to actually grind it out against the Skins.
All right, well, this could get murkier, this NFC East. Washington with a convincing win over Buffalo. Cardinals crushed the Eagles. I think that the Redskins, can do some damage to the 29th ranked Philly defense. So Kirk and company to extend their lead in the division. Washington.
You like that.
You like that. Trademark.
He
Kirk
is
doesn't.
trademarking that now. 49ers at the Lions. And I like the Lions in this. They showed a little heart last night on Monday Night Football. San Francisco has clearly packed it in, and they need a regime change. Mm-hmm. Stewart's wish list, I'm sure the San Francisco fans are like, new GM, new coach, new teams.
A lot of bottom feeders.
Yeah, evidently a lot of empty seats there, too. So I'm taking the Lions in this one.
Yeah, the Lions had a field day Monday night in New Orleans, and Shane Drawn's not going to be able to do much against the Lions' defense. So I'm going to take Detroit here, who has a much better defense and offense, which means it's going to suck.
Oh, sorry, we missed last week, by the way, for the one or two people that noticed technical difficulties.
As usual.
Stewart's alcoholism. But other than that, we were fine. Anyway, what are we up to? We're up
to...
Steve,
Steelers and Ravens.
Very good. Paul Lind.
Thank you.
And I like the Steelers in this. I've been saying it for weeks. If Big Ben stays upright, the Steelers were going to win out. They are winning out. Can't stop Antonio Brown. Big game, big pass play potential is wonderful to watch for the Steelers. And their defense is putting some pressure on quarterbacks. So I see this one as an easy Steeler win.
Yeah, the Steelers are playing as if they're the best team in the league right now, and they are my AFC favorite to go to the Super Bowl. So let's take the amazing Antonio Brown and Big Ben to create a murder of crows.
Yeah, or counting crows.
No, murder. You killed my whole thing.
Mr. Pace and me making pics on YouTube. And we stare at the beautiful women. Anyway, Cowboys at Bills.
Okay.
Counting crows, sorry.
I know.
Adam Durrance.
I have that.
Let's see. Rex Ryan, defensive mastermind. He figured out a way to take a great Bills defense last year that got like 50 sacks and cut him down to 20.
Yep.
But he's going against Kellen Moore. My rant last week on the unseen episode,
the lost episode,
which will be in the archives of television history, was that if the NFL wants to improve, it needs to think about contracting a couple of teams, and it needs to think about shortening, not lengthening the season, because then you have the premier matchups at the end of the season with actual standing starting quarterbacks who aren't hurt.
Yeah.
And not moving into London. Let's not even get into that craziness. Get me back to Sunday and Monday games. Get rid of the Thursday crap. And let's make the NFL what it once was. And by the way, get rid of replay. Sick of them going to replay and still getting it wrong. So anyway, I've got...
True. There's part of our rant from last week.
I like the Bills in this one.
Oh, okay. Well, you have to wonder what happened to the Bills after a decent start. And they are the number one rushing team right now, and they're going against a Cowboy team that's pretty much playing out the string. Buffalo has no real playoff hopes here. So it's just for pride. Take Buffalo.
Chicago at Tampa Bay. And you want to talk about just for pride? I'm taking Tampa Bay. Jameis Winston hasn't playing well. Chicago lost to my Vikes in a listless effort on their part, or a great effort on Teddy Bridgewater's part, however you want to look at it. So I think Chicago emotionally just checked out last week, and I like Tampa Bay to win this one easy.
Yeah, strictly stats speaking wise, the Bucs are the better team, but the Bears have been feisty, and they could cause trouble for the Bucs in the run game. I am, however, taking the Buccaneers to win at home. as they had 4 extra days of rest. So, Buccaneers.
There you go. The Carolina Panthers still undefeated.
Unbelievable.
At the Falcons. And quick question for you, Stu.
Yes.
Giants tie that game up amazingly. Or, I'm sorry, Giants are down 34-35. Do you go for the 2 at that point?
We were talking about that watching the game. No.
Why not?
Because you want to win the game, and if you miss it, you've lost the game. At least with the tie, you have an extra chance. They never got the chance.
Yeah, with the way the Giants' defense has played, in late games, God, think about how easily the Giants win this division if they could just hold a lead in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Odell Beckham and Josh Norman, what did you learn from it? Because the only thing I learned from it was Josh Norman sounds exactly like Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, I just think the referees totally let them go crazy, which they shouldn't have done. I mean, after the second, punching and fighting, that should have been ended. And then Beckham, man, that hit to the head was just uncalled for. I would have suspended him for more than one game.
Player safety is our number one issue, but we'll look the other way while two guys are having a knife fight.
Yep.
Cortland Finnegan jumped in there, too.
Because the ratings were spiking. That's why they didn't stop it.
Anyway, Panthers win this game unless Ron Rivera decides I've got to pull Cam and I've got to pull Greg Olsen to keep them safe.
72-3 is the total points in this rivalry. The last 2 games in the Panthers' favor. If the Panthers rest anyone, all bets are off. But the Panthers are crushing opponents, even though they gave up the late points to the Giants. This could be as ugly as the last 2 matchups, taking the Panthers.
Colts at Dolphins. Go, Stewie.
Well, the Finns didn't even show up in San Diego. And at least the Colts gave an effort behind Hasselblach. The Finns abandoned the run. Here we are. Campbell's saying we're going to be a running team, and then he doesn't. Then he lets Tannehill get his ass kicked because he gave up on the running game. And against mediocre pass rushers. I see the same thing here. Gore's going to run for 300 yards, and the Colts are going to bury the Dolphins.
I disagree. I actually think the Dolphins are the better team. I think the Colts are down to, no quarterback. I think Gore is old and infirm. I think the Colts made a big mistake going for it with aged.
Yeah, they were
past
for
their prime veterans. Yeah. And not really, I mean, it's easy in hindsight, but not really developing, an offensive line. I mean, come on. Seriously, who's the GM of the Colts? It's time for him to skedaddle.
Drinking McBeers.
Tits McGee, I believe it is. Anyway, Pats at Jets. And this one's interesting. Pats are starting to get healthier. Pats could conceivably protect their health by pulling guys, but that's not exactly Belichick's way. He is starting to make some noise about that, but I think it's just mind games. I mean, this is the guy that had Gronkowski in there on extra points.
Yeah, but they could wrap up home field advantage with a win. So unless it's out of hand, I don't think they're going to pull the starters.
Okay, if they don't pull the starters, this is a tough game to call. The Jets have come on ever since the second half of the Giants game, or even before that. But that was really their crucial moment where they made the big comeback, keeping the hope alive. And in a really strange position where they could end up with a really great record and not make the playoffs. Fitzpatrick has played way better than anyone thought he was going to this season.
Absolutely.
He has weapons. Decker and Marshall. He has a decent offensive line. They can pound the rock on occasion. I actually like the Jets in this one.
Brady is 21-6 against the Jets.
There you go with those stupid
Patriots.
Facts. Houston at the Titans.
In the regular season, by the way.
And we've got Brandon Weeden versus Zach Mettenberg. This is what I'm talking about, folks.
Get the popcorn, kiddies.
Yay! 18-week season. That's a great idea. Let's go up a couple more games.
With 4 weeks of bad teams playing each other.
Yeah. Anyway, Houston has control of the division right now after a lackluster win over the Colts.
Yeah.
All they have to do is beat a very bad Titans team with a backup quarterback. I think they're capable of that. I like Houston.
Yeah, I'm not going to add any to that. Texans.
All right. That was quick. So we got Browns at Chiefs, and the Chiefs control this with the running game. They keep Johnny Football, basically, what's the word I'm looking for here? Useless.
Neutered?
Yeah, neutered is a good one. Johnny Eunuch. The Browns, it's sad to see a town that deserves a good team not have one for decades.
Yeah.
So Chiefs are playing really well. Scary team going into the playoffs. I like the Chiefs easy.
Yeah, the odds are the Chiefs win this, but Manziel can add, something to the flavor of the game that they haven't seen probably this year, and that's a guy that's going to make shit up as he goes along. Yeah, I believe the Chiefs win, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Johnny wrangle, running around and throwing a ball and getting an awkward touchdown to win the game, but I am putting my money on the Chiefs. And by my money, I mean Monopoly money.
Yep, Jacksonville at the Saints. And watching the Saints last night was not very impressive. It has convinced me that the Jacksonville Jaguars, a team headed in the right direction, though not quite there yet, are going to win this game.
Yeah, I'm picking the Saints.
Well, you just go ahead and do that.
I mean, it could be interesting anyway. Jacksonville's 5-9, and technically they're in the playoff hunt. 5-9. Come on. For God's sakes, but Brees should have another good game here, throwing the ball. I am taking the Saints, but wouldn't be surprised if Jacksonville squeaks one out here. Saints.
All right, Green Bay
Unless Jacksonville wins.
At Arizona. And who would have thought that Carson Palmer would clearly outplay Aaron Rodgers this season? If you had told me that at the beginning of the year, there's no way you go with that. Carson Palmer has he's kind of Kurt Warnered his career here, where he's really come back and people are like, hey, he was a pretty good player.
Yeah. And we keep talking Cam Newton MVP. Everyone's forgetting about him now that I think about it.
Yeah, I think Cam Newton deserves the MVP. I mean, you're on an undefeated team. You're throwing for 5 touchdowns a game. You're running for 500-plus yards this season. I don't think you can take that away from him. But I do think that Carson Palmer deserves some talks.
Without him, I don't think they're this good.
Some second-place votes. Yeah, clearly they're not.
Although they're without Matthew now. Tyrion, the guy from Game of Thrones is out.
Honey Badger tore up his knee, so he is out, and they're dedicating the season to him, which is always kind of a silly thing in my mind.
Yeah.
But I do like Arizona to win this game. Packers clinched playoff spot. I don't think they're overly motivated. I don't think they're going to travel that well. They haven't traveled that well this year, so give me the Cardinals.
Yeah, I don't think the Cardinals' defensive line is going to the Green Bay Packers offensive line is going to be able to handle the constant pressure that the Arizona Cardinals defensive line puts on you. And you're right, maybe they just throw up the flag. We're in the playoffs. We're not going to do any better with any more wins really here. So I am taking the Cardinals.
There you go. All right, we've got St. Louis at Seattle. And I've been saying it. I think Seattle wins out, and I think they're going to win out. Yeah. I think St. Louis has been the biggest disappointment for me this year as far as teams I expected to really contend. I honestly thought St. Louis defense was going to carry them like Denver's defense has carried them, and that just hasn't played out. Seattle off to a slow start. Was it Cam Chancellor not being there or whatever? I don't know, but Russell Wilson has certainly cranked it up. You want to talk about a guy that if he had the first half of the season that he's had in the second half, he'd be in MVP talk.
Yep.
So, they are down to what? Their third, fourth string running back?
Keenum
I don't think it matters at this point.
It's Brian Boitano and Christy Michael. I don't know, Christy Brinkley.
I have no idea what Stu's talking about now.
The running backs for Seattle.
I'm taking Seattle.
Bryce Brown and Christine Michael.
Who's Brian Boitano? Who's the guy that always announced the? I know he was a skater. Who announced all the figure skating stuff?
Oh, Dick something.
Wasn't it Scooter McGee? Wasn't it Tits McGee?
It was Tits McGee.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Stu.
Rams escaped the last game against Seattle this year by stuffing Marshawn Lynch on 4th and 1. But that was with Nick Foles. I mean, now it's Casey Kasem, and he ain't seen a defense like this. I can't imagine, as good as the Rams defense could play in a game, I can't imagine Seattle losing this game. I'm taking the Seahawks.
All right.
It's Pittsburgh, Seattle in the Super Bowl for me.
Giants at my Vikes, and my Vikes had a huge win last week. Teddy Bridgewater played extremely, extremely efficiently, and the Giants have the question of will Odell Beckham be suspended or not?
Right.
He should be. That was ridiculous.
Absolutely.
I mean, he was clearly going out of his way. Norman, not completely innocent in that, but Beckham was clearly the instigator and clearly continued to go out of his way to attempt to injure. So if player safety is the key to the NFL right now, Beckham, you're sitting. Yeah. You're sitting a game. And I like the Vikes. Maybe I'm a little prejudiced in this one because I like the Vikes going up against Reuben Randall, Hakeem Nicks, and what's his name? Harris.
The wheelchair kids.
Over top of Beckham and me and Stu.
Yeah.
So, give me the Vikes in this one. All we have to do is run it and hopefully shut down their lesser wide
Yeah,
receivers.
and despite the ankle injury, it appears that Peterson's going to play. I don't know how bad it was, but
Oh, you can't stop it. He's a robot.
how effective will he be? Asiata is no Adrian Peterson, but the Giants' sieve of a defense may allow Teddy another 4-touchdown game here. Let's see if the Vikes can put the Giants out of their playoff misery. I am going with the Minnesota Vikings.
There we go. Don't touch me ever again. Anyway, Bengals at Broncos, and Peyton or Brock becomes the question. But now it's like Peyton he's got that old, I'm just not quite healing like I used to. When I was a young man, I used to be able, it's suddenly like, oh yeah, his foot's bothering him, his spleen's a problem.
Yeah, his brother's a pain in his ass.
He doesn't have any depends. And then on the other side of that, you've got Dalton and the thumb, and like, when's he going to come back? And so you're looking at AJ McCarron versus Brock Osweiler.
Yeah, what should have been a great game.
Once again, perhaps a shorter season might be a good idea.
Might have been helpful.
Denver, can they score in the second half of the game? And by the way, Vernon Davis, hold on to a damn pass.
Dropsy McDavis?
Tits McGee and Dropsy McDavis.
Did he forget how to catch a ball? It was so unbelievable.
Yeah, talk about a guy that's just let down a couple of teams recently. Amazing talent, physically one of the most impressive tight ends you're ever going to see, but just not coming through in big games when they need him. Oh, and speaking of drops, Odell Beckham's drop, man, was that remarkable. In the first pass where he had to beat.
Yeah.
I could not believe, having seen what that guy could do. I'm sorry, I digress.
He makes it easy.
Anyway,
blows that one.
I like the Broncos at home against McCarron. I think they have enough defense to win this game. I do think the Bengals are a very solid team, and I hope they get Dalton back so that they get a chance to go into the playoffs, and we can see what they do. But in this game, Denver at home, defense going up against McCarron.
Yeah, if the Bengals use the Steelers' blueprint on defense, they may be able to hold the Broncos here. But the problem is, it's A.J. McCarron, and although he had a decent game the other day, he hasn't faced this Broncos defense, who looked a little shaky the other day anyway. But without Ginger Dalton, I just can't see the Bengals winning this game in Denver, on the road. It's going to be 75 degrees like it is here in New Jersey on Christmas week. I don't know. Let's see if Hugh Jackson put together an offensive game plan for this game that limits McCarron to the throwing and depends on the run to win the game, but I'm taking the Broncos.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Jack Frost nipping at your nose.
They probably turned it off.
Hey, guys, we really, I hope so, because I'm freaking singing. We hope you have a wonderful holiday.
Yes,
we hope that this video actually gets up on YouTube. We apologize about last week. This is Electric Football. I'm Steve.
Merry Christmas. I'm Stu Pace. And don't forget, YouTube NFL prognosticators. If you want to see them all in one place, please visit that website run by Gio from Gio Knows.
What a good guy that Stu is.
Merry Christmas, y'all.